Hi friends, welcome to part 2 of the Breville Barista Express video series. This is going to be about cleaning the machine. Any tips and tricks that I know that I've learned over the years with this machine, I will definitely share with you. But let's get right into it. So starting with the tools that you are going to need that come with the machine, you should have this little cleaning kit box. Inside this cleaning kit comes a few different things, but I don't know what you would call this piece, but it is a double-ended tool that has basically pins on either side and like an oval shape in the center. You're going to need that when it comes to the steam wand. This is a brush that we're going to use for the grinder, and a whole bunch of dust just came out of that when I did that. For cleaning the group head and the internals, you will need the dual wall single basket. You'll need the little rubber stopper. Mine has a hole in it. I've heard that there are other, maybe newer versions that don't have a hole in it. Either way, it's going to work great. Well, it should work great. And the last thing that you'll need that comes with it, besides the portafilter, is an Allen key. There should be one that, don't lose this. This is really important because it exactly fits the screw in the group head. So now let's talk about the things that don't come with the machine that you're probably going to need to order or pull from your kitchen. The two most important parts, number one being espresso machine cleaning tablets. Mine are by Clean Espresso. I got them on Amazon. It came with 20 tablets, I believe. Yeah, 20 of them, and I've hardly made a dent. But they look exactly like the 2-pack that came with the machine when you first got it. So you'll be needing those. Something else that you'll need that is a little less commonly changed out, you'll change this every 2 months, is the water filter that goes in the back of the tank. It goes in this thing. We'll get to that in a minute. But I got this little box from the same people on Amazon, and it comes with 6 filters and 20 tablets. So you may want to start with this, and then when you run out of your 20 tablets, refill with your little refill. I also use my little demi-tasse spoon, and I have a rag, and I have a bowl. So we're gonna just start moving from here, because what I've got in this bowl is the water filter that we're gonna be using. It's currently soaking. You wanna soak it for about 10 minutes before you actually install it. As you can see, the water is dark. Well, maybe you can see, but it is a charcoal-based filter, so we want to get out any of that extra charcoal powder first before putting it in the machine so it does what it's supposed to do and not give us any charcoal-flavored waters. I also have a rag, which is good because it does tend to get a little messy, and I think that's it. So let's get moving. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the water filter. So this is inside the water tank. You just press the little tabs and pull this apart. But right here, this is a dial for your own self-reminder. I never used this because I forgot anyway. I would rather set an alarm in my phone to remind me to replace my water filter, because I never see this. Usually my machine is on a counter. I'm too short to see over into this, and when I take it out, I'm thinking about filling the water so that I can make coffee because I need coffee, versus looking at what month it is that I need to replace the water filter. I'm gonna take out my soaking filter. So you'll see that the water filter is the same shape as the direction that it's supposed to go. So I'm gonna go flat side up this way and then just snap in this piece correctly. And now we're in. We can put that into the back. I'm not going to show that because it's going to be hard to see anyway, but there we go. I'm going to empty this bowl. Be right back. Hold on to that empty bowl though, because you're going to need it for the next part. The next thing we're going to do is set up to do the cleaning for the internals of the machine. So the first thing we're going to do is take our portafilter and remove the filter we've been using to make our coffee. I'm just going to use my spoon to pop it out. And as you can see on the inside, mine might look a little bit different than yours. I took out the plastic piece that was inside. There was something about hot liquid and the plastic inside the portafilter that bothered me, so I took it out. It took a little finagling, but you don't have to. It's just what I did. So I'm going to take out my double filter, which I've been using, and replace it with the I'm going to replace it with the dual wall single basket. Just snaps right in. And then I'm going to take my rubber stopper, which is a little bit dusty at the moment, but that's fine. And I'm going to load it up with one of these. Take the cotton balls out. Put that right in there. And put those to the side. Now that we're all loaded up, we can lock it in. Before we run the clean cycle, it's really important to make sure that your water tank is filled to the max line, because you're going to be using most of that water to run through the machine with the soapy solution to clean out the inside. You're going to probably fill this at least twice, once during the once before the process and then once after. Cool. So now the next part is to turn the machine off after it's been on. Mine's probably been on for about 20 minutes, so it should be nice and heated up. Let's do that. Where is the power button? Okay. Next, I'm going to take my bowl. I'm going to put the bowl under here. And honestly, this part is really freaky. I never stand really close to the machine when I'm doing it. Not that I think the machine's gonna explode or anything, but it really makes me uncomfortable for whatever reason. So I'm gonna make sure that our portafilter is really locked in there. I've got the bowl underneath, and then I'm gonna press a button, combination to start the cleaning cycle. You may see that your Clean Me light is on. And if your Clean Me light is on, most likely this is the cycle that you need to run to make it go away. If you run the cleaning cycle and that light stays on, we'll talk about that afterwards. So what I'm going to do now that the machine is off is press the 1 cup, 2 cup, and power button simultaneously and hold it. And now we've initiated the cleaning cycle. This is gonna run over and over again for probably 5 minutes. It's good to have a decent sized bowl because you will fill up most of this with the solution. Normally when the water starts coming out, it's not as clean as this one is at the moment, but you'll see all of the built up coffee residue that is inside the machine start to come out that is built up over the time between cleaning cycles. If you're using your machine every day, I'd probably recommend cleaning it once a week. But I never really had any issues doing it a little less than that. But just for cleanliness' sake, once a week is probably good. Something else I've even done, I'm going to show you this real quick, is I use my milk pitcher and I'll use that to capture some of the solution. This is definitely not big enough for the full cleaning cycle though. And then I would use that to clean my steam wand. But let's see how much we get out of this next one. If the Clean Me light's still flashing, it's not done. You can also take your dirty filter, put it in the cleaning solution. we're done. So in here, in my milk pitcher now, it's pretty much just hot water at this point. There's no suds. Most of the suds are in the bowl. Hot water is just fine. So what I'm gonna do is put this in here and just soak that. And by this in here, I mean your steam wand into your milk pitcher full of hot water. Okay, and now we should have no more cleaning solution tablet. Should be completely dissolved, and we can take that out. I'm gonna leave these in here to clean. You can start to see a little bit of any coffee residue that might still be on there starting to dissolve in places that I didn't even realize coffee was stuck, so that's good to know. So the next thing we're gonna do is continue on with the steam wand. Imagine that it has been soaking for 10 minutes or so. So I'm gonna take it out and put that to the side. Preferably not directly on the table. And I'm just gonna wipe this down. Make sure that there's nothing stuck to the outside. You're also gonna need that little pokey tool with the hole in it. This is cool. So there is a singular hole at the bottom, and sometimes that can get clogged with any sort of milk particles or buildup. Sometimes it can dry because this can get pretty hot. So what we're gonna do is take the tip off and check to make sure that it's not blocked. If you look at this hole, there's two flat sides on either side of that hole. On your steam wand, there's also two flat sides. I'm gonna line that up. Here you can see here. And then I'm gonna twist. And that is going to help me remove the steam wand tip. I should be able to look directly through it. Looks very clear to me. But in the case that it wasn't, like if you turn your steam wand on and nothing comes out for 2 full minutes or something like that, take the bigger end and that will fit perfectly into the hole, and that will line up with the flat sides, and you'll be able to kind of wiggle that around and undo the blockage. And I don't see anything from here, so I think that the steam wand is in pretty good shape, and I'm just going to put the tip back on. Okay, and I'll just use this again to make sure that it's locked on nice and tight. The other end, which I didn't realize for a long time, is under this little cap. There's an even smaller pin right here. What I believe that pin is for unclogging holes in your basket. May not be though, because even that's too big for the holes. So forget I said anything about that, but there is a smaller pin. I've never used it for anything, but it exists, so. The hot water spigot, I've heard that you can replace a gasket that's in there, because sometimes this will leak. I have not replaced the gasket on here. I haven't learned how to do that yet, but I'm sure there's something online about that, and if it comes to the day where I need to do it, I will definitely share that with you. But I have not needed to. I haven't done that yet. It is a little bit drippy, but not enough to bother me. Now let's move on to the group head. This part, I did not know you could do. I knew that it was something that needed to be done, but I had tried to get that filter screen off, the shower screen off before on my own, and just absolutely could not do it. So I finally spent some time on it and figured it out, and my goodness, was it disgusting underneath. So take your Allen key, and underneath, if you look under, you'll see that there is a screw right in the center of your shower screen. And we're gonna unscrew that. Do not lose the screw or this Allen key. Okay, and I'm just gonna put that on top of the machine so I don't lose it. I'm gonna take my spoon and I'm gonna slide it right up against that metal. And it's gonna take me a couple tries probably. Oh, or just one. But you wanna pull that shower screen out, and now you should have just the plastic or the actual shower head, group head exposed. Inside here, even though I ran that cycle, that cleaning cycle, you can still see that there's coffee in there. And when you do that so many times, even though you're running a cleaning cycle, there is disgusting coffee oil buildup. It looks like an oil slick. If you haven't cleaned this, you are gonna be grossed out. So that's a trick that I learned probably a couple months after having the machine, and that was gross. So there you go. Now I want to try something. I know it didn't work on the baskets, but let's take the little one and just see if this is what it's for. There's no clogs in it, so I shouldn't need it. Okay, so we have an answer for you. The little tiny pin is for the shower screen. I don't have any clogs, and it doesn't fit in every single one, it seems. Some of them it goes, some of them it fits in, but not all of them. So if your shower screen gets clogged, that's what this is for. Haven't had the issue. So you can put that in your solution as well if you want to, but don't think it needs it. Now I'm going to take my rag and I'm just going to clean as much as I possibly can underneath where that was, because you better believe if there is residue on the shower screen, it is on the group head itself. And even though you're doing all the flat surfaces just like this, I'm actually going to take a little bit of this and I'm just going to fold and try and get this up in around the rubber gasket around the edges. The rubber gasket goes alongside the rim of your portafilter and makes the seal. If there's any extra grounds, like you can see all of this that's coming off right now, that's all built up from around the gasket. Now that this is clean, the gasket is clean, we've cleaned as much as we possibly can underneath there. We're going to, this is probably the easiest way to do it, is fit your shower screen onto your screw. And it just might take a second for you to find where it goes. And screw that back in. You want it to be nice and tight, but not so tight that you can't get it off the next time. Okay, so that's clean. Next, we're gonna move on to the grinder portion. The grinder part, you're gonna need the brush, but you're also gonna need a whole lot of strength. This cleaning portion eluded me for a little longer than I had wanted it to, but I just physically could not remove the piece by myself. First part is to take off your lid, and on the top there is a dial where you will lock the hopper. This will prevent any beans from spilling out. Typically what I do after I lock it is I run the grinder to clear out any beans that are in there. So I'm just gonna take my lid and I'm gonna reach in and press the button that I can't see. Oh goodness, okay. So remove all your beans, dump them into something else. We're gonna lock this in. I'm gonna put this down here to catch anything that falls out. Oh my God. Okay, when it makes that really, really fast, high-pitched noise, that means you're empty. So this was all the stuff that was in there that I didn't know. We're gonna toss that. Now I'm going to undo the hopper and I'm going to turn the machine off and unplug it. Just in case, because if you're putting your fingers anywhere near the grinder, you don't want it to turn on by accident. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is take my brush and just start to clear out any of the grinds or pieces of coffee that have kind of built up around the edges. And I'm going to try and push them in towards the center or pull them out completely. They're a little bit tricky sometimes, see that, but okay. Right here, this is a handle that you're going to use to twist out the top burr of your grinder. This is the part that was really difficult. Ideally, you should be able to turn this, I believe, counterclockwise to unlock it from where it is. The only time that I've been able to do it was when I wrapped a cloth around it. Gave it everything I had. So counterclockwise, turn, and lift. So this is your top burr, and all of that is kind of built up in there. You could probably do this over a trash can somewhere. So once you do that, also, this is the bottom burr, and you have so much coffee that's just kind of built up in and around there that you're going to want to brush out. I usually brush that into the center. And then when I turn the grinder on again, I mean, right now it should be falling out. Oh yeah, look at the front. Now I should be able to push any of those grounds out, down and out past the burr, and they'll fall out into the drip tray. And then anything that I can't get out, I should be able to kind of spin out a little bit when I turn the grinder back on. Okay. And then just kind of brush this out as best I can. Nice and clean. Clean off the top surface from any residue. There should be a wet spot on here I can use. Now, this part is important. Obviously, this isn't cleaned to the standard that I would suggest right now. But if you see where that red dot is, you see fine or coarse on either side. Can you see that okay? And then underneath, there are numbers. That is to adjust your grind setting from the inside. Sometimes you might get all the way down to 1 on your grinder knob here, and that's still not fine enough. So if that's the case, or you find yourself, you've gotten all out of whack, you have to actually take this out. You have to take out your handle, which easily pops out. That's your handle. Take the handle off, and now that will unlock this part, so you can line up that red dot with a finer size if you want it to be finer, or if you want it to be more coarse. I don't think that I've needed to adjust it, but I'm going to put it down to, let's put it down to level 4. We'll clean this off. And then to lock in that new setting, set to level 4. Put it in one side. Come on. Okay. And there's another hole over here. 2. And now we should be able to put this back in. And now we should be able to believe that's locked in. Put that back down. After we've wiped out our hopper, which I have not done. Put the hopper back in, lock it, fill it with beans, and put your lid back on. The last couple things we're going to do is clean out your portafilter. You want it to be nice and shiny like this inside. So pop out your filter, wipe all this inside down, use some of the solution, use some dish soap, anything to get this clean. Also, for future reference, this part also comes off so you can really get in there and clean out the spouts. and all around your gasket there. So we'll clean that. And then I'll finish cleaning our baskets, which are all soaking in here. I will clean out the milk jug. And then what's built up under here sometimes can get really gross. Because this machine hadn't been used for a little while, it was basically in storage, it's going to be relatively clean, but you'll slide out your drip tray. And you're going to want to clean off this metal part here, and underneath gets really gross. So you can always wipe down the top, but you're never used to seeing what happens underneath there. If you let this go for too long, what you end up getting underneath here, I don't know what that is an algae buildup. And it can tend to get all along the edges here. If you let the water sit in there too long, it can get very gross and disgusting. So clean out all of this. You're gonna touch some slimy stuff. If you leave it too long, trust me, I've forgotten about it a couple of times. Clean all of that out, and I will be back once this is all clean. So the last thing that I always do when I am finishing up cleaning the machine is just run a wet rag over all of the exposed stainless steel, and make sure that it's nice and polished and ready for the next day's coffee. The only things that I haven't talked about in here are the descaling cycle. Some machines will say clean descale instead of clean me. If you have your light come on and you run the cleaning cycle like we did here, most likely your machine is asking you to run a descale cycle, which is going to be using your water tank to clean out the water lines from in there. I've only done that one time. It's the only time that I really needed to, because I was noticing little flaky pieces were coming out of my hot water spigot. So if I turn my hot water spigot on and I am putting hot water into my shot glass or into my mug to preheat it, and I notice that there are little flakies in there, that is buildup inside the hot water tank. You don't want that in there, and you definitely don't want it coming loose and getting into your drink. Could cause a clog later. It's just not good. So your machine usually has a timer inside for how many cycles it's gone through, where it's going to recommend you do a descaling cycle. I don't think you need to do that all the time. That's kind of a just be aware of how long it's been since you've had the machine. Pay attention and see if you have any little flaky buildup that's coming out of the hot water. Sometimes that can even come out of the steam wand, but just be aware, and if you need to do that, you can. If you run the clean cycle and you just can't do a descaling or anything like that, or you run a descaling and the light is still on, there is a button combination you can push to tell the machine that you're about to run a descaling cycle specifically. And that should turn the light off, because it's going to expect you to run the descaling cycle. And that's how you would make the light go off. But in the description down below, I'll leave links to a couple other videos that are on YouTube that explain that process, because I don't do it very often. I did do it once, and I used a vinegar solution, a vinegar water solution. Some people say to not do that on this machine, and there are descaling solutions that are already pre-made that you can order and use in this machine as well. If there's anything that I missed, or you have any questions on cleaning your machine that might be a little bit different than this, please leave a comment down below, or you can DM me on Instagram, and I'll do my best to help you, or at least point you in the right direction. As far as the cleaning tablets and this machine go, anything else that that you might see that was extra, I will put in my kit, and I'll leave a link to that down below as well. Again, if there's anything else I miss, let me know, and I'll do my best. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Okay, bye!